I've got like asthma now.
This is the behind the scenes of making a podcast. Ellie has got up and down so many times that she's given herself an asthma attack.
Oh my God, honestly. Well, welcome back. It's series 73. I don't know.
This is take 25 million of season 3, episode 1 of the Corporate Dropouts. Welcome back, everyone. Oh. Welcome back, Ellie. Welcome back, Wine. Welcome back, Christina. Welcome back, everyone, the loyal fans that have continued to listen to us throughout our little hiatus. And my God, it has been a journey since we last recorded.
I don't even know where to start, but you know, Christina, have we had any more kids?
Have I had any more children?
Not that we know of.
Not that I know of. I don't think so.
There's been more unusual situations.
My God. Yeah. I mean, when did we last record? Like last year?
It was last summer, I think.
So this time last year?
Yeah, because I was trying to live my best summer life, and...
How did that go for you?
No, fine.
So just a little caveat to this episode, guys. If you don't want to hear about us and our life and our updates and what the fuck has been going on for the last 12 months, you need to switch off now.
Oh, yeah. Because we kind of just decided, didn't we? Like, we're just going to make this podcast more personal. Like, obviously business is a huge part of our life, but actually, like, we have a lot of other shit going on in our personal life that impacts our business.
Yeah.
And we just want to get real.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people find that, like, especially when you start a business, and this is something I've learned so much, is like your personal life and your business life are very much intertwined, and if your mindset is not right in one area, then everything else is going to fall down. And I think for the podcast, like, obviously it's really helpful for people to learn about how to market, how to PR, how to start a product business, whatever. But also there's like the real behind the scenes, no bullshit conversation that people are not having. Like if you've got an Instagram account, even our Instagram account, it's like, oh, look how fucking perfect life is. Or like, look at this really cool picture I took and how perfect my weekends are. And
yeah, literally.
It's just not that, is it? So we thought, let's just do a little shake up of the podcast world. And just talk a bit more real with you guys.
Yeah, and we kind of like noticed, didn't we? Like people were enjoying. By the way, we've got about 30 animals in the room. Oh my God, yeah, we've got 2 bunnies and a dog and probably some mice. I don't know.
I don't think there's any children.
There's no, hopefully
You're not sure where the kids are.
If there's any weird noises, I mean, it could be us.
Yeah.
It's most likely.
We're so sorry. This is a really professional podcast, guys. We're looking for sponsorship. So if anyone wants to sponsor this shit, let me know.
Put the wine away.
I mean, you could sponsor us. La Provence.
Yes, we've got this lovely product placement. Okay, yes. Where do we even start? No, what I was going to say is like we found like, even though we haven't been recording for like a year, people have still been listening to our podcast, and actually the ones that they get, like we can see what our audience look at, can't we? So the ones that people tend to get drawn to are the ones that it's just me and you. Like obviously we did that big interview series, but generally, yeah. It's just me and you, Han.
No offense to our interviews were amazing and we got some incredible tips. And honestly, I was actually reflecting on this yesterday. So Ashley, who's one of the people we interviewed last year, she specifically has taken me on a big journey on my personal development. So God, I'm so grateful for that interview series. And I think, we're big believers in like things come into your life as and when you truly need them. And a lot of the people we interviewed last season have been so instrumental to like the changes and the big growth that we've had in our personal and business lives. So forever grateful. But to be honest, Ellie and I just love a chat, and I think a lot of other people, like we keep getting people being like, when are you gonna record the podcast? And we'll go on like 4-hour-long car journeys and we'll just chat absolute crap but quite insightful stuff, and we're like, we should be recording this. So we were like, do you know what, let's give them what they want, and we're back, bitches. We are back.
Yes, and we're so excited, and we're not gonna put we haven't put a number on this series. Normally we do 12 episodes per series, but we haven't, have we? This time we're just gonna record and we're just gonna see what happens. We've got no plan. We're just gonna, because we found, haven't we, like our best conversations are just natural, so that we have not got a plan for this episode. We'll name it after
Can
this
you
episode.
tell?
But we're going to name it up. We're going to title it after this episode, see what we touch on. But I think this is just going to be a bit of a catch-up, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I guess to start off with, let's go into like the year of, well, the end of 2021 to 2022. What's happened? What would you say like your biggest learning is?
Okay, so this is actually a really cool story. So I obviously...
I'm ready.
Are you ready? I'm sure you've heard this 100 times. So obviously various things went on at the end of last year. I turned 30, which was a big milestone for me anyway, because I always said I was going to leave my bullshit behaviour behind in my 20s. I also separated from the partner or the father of my children. I moved back to my parents' house, like it was a whole shebang. But I'm a very goal-orientated person, I think. So when I set my mind on something, I'm going to fucking achieve it. But at the beginning of the year, I wrote down in my notes when I was setting out all my goals for the year, I wrote something about stop using other people as an excuse to not get what you want. Like everything you want is within you. You've just got to stop all the bullshit and get on with it now. Something along those lines. It was a very powerful statement. I wish I'd written it down at this point. But basically I wrote it down, and I think it was literally just like, everyone says this, but it's just like, get out of your own way. Like I think people put so many excuses in front of you. Like I used to put so many excuses in front of me, like, oh, you know, I'll do that tomorrow, or there's a reason I can't do this reason, blah, whatever. It's just bullshit. And I think if anything, this year has proved that whatever you set your mind to, you can basically achieve, right? Whatever the consequences. So I became a single mum living at my parents' house, who then decided they were also getting divorced. So then living in a weird dimension of going through a breakup over here, going through a breakup over there. Obviously raising 2 young kids, building a business, like a lot was going on. So I think, yeah, my biggest thing from the beginning of the year was just really setting out to get out of my own way, which I think a lot of people struggle with, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like just thinking back actually to the last 12 months, like it has actually been such a whirlwind.
It's been a ride.
No wonder we didn't have time to record a podcast.
I know.
But I think like what you, just from like standing on the sidelines, like watching you, yeah, that's exactly what you did. I think like when you kind of got a lot of people out of your way, you actually looked in the mirror and said like, well, I don't have any excuses now. Nothing's holding me back. And in like between January and now, you've set yourself some like ridiculous goals and you've just achieved them all.
It was funny, you found that piece. I think Robin Sharma, who we talk about a lot, like he had in his Everyday Hero manifesto book, which everyone needs to read if they have not, Eleanor included. I set myself out a couple of goals, and you found that sheet of paper so randomly. Where did you even find that?
I was like, where was it? I have like an old diary from 2021, and I'm literally that person. I just can't throw away like,
no, I'm the same.
The diaries. I know I did throw it away because sorry, I can get it out the bin. No, not your goals.
No, I know.
Yeah, I threw it away. Like, again, long story, but yeah, I've just moved house. But yeah, I was having to clear out. I found that, and I sent it to Christina actually, because I was like, Christina needs to see this because she's fucking achieved all these goals, and they are like,
I know. I was like, what do I do now? Do you die now? Is that what happened? I've done it.
You're done. But yeah, it's actually, and I think that's actually something that I like. We always talk about and would like to discuss on this podcast is reflection. And actually, like, we spend so much time goal setting. I mean, I do it all the time. I was like creating my vision board yesterday. I was, just writing down like my new goals for the year. And I barely ever look back on my goals and like think,
how far you've come.
I've come far. And you've come very far.
I think, and that's a good time. Let's talk about your achievements now.
Oh, no, I don't. Oh, no, they're nothing compared to yours.
No, God, don't be stupid. I think, again, like, you've had such a crazy year. Like,
yeah, well, I guess, like, so to give everyone, like, the backstory, isn't it? Me, Christina, both broken up with our boyfriends. We both had parents that are getting divorced.
The same parents.
And we've both been for forced, but we've both been like found ourselves in a position where we are living back kind of like in our family environment. So like you're living back in our family home. I had to move back into our family home because of the divorce. I had to sell the family flat in London that I was renting from my dad. We've had to sell that, so I was like forced basically to move back to Northampton. I mean, I obviously could have stayed in London, but I'm trying to set up this business. I put like 80% of my salary into the business, don't I? So I couldn't really justify like staying in London because it was draining my bank account.
And like we always say, short-term sacrifices for long-term gains.
Exactly. And I kind of feel like it's all worked out really nicely because I've moved home. I now live with my mum in this house. It all just like works out really well. Like my mum's moved out the family house. We live here together. You're in the family house still, and you've got like all the space you need.
On my own, which is nice. No furniture, but
yeah, we kind of removed all the furniture. But actually it's all kind of worked out.
Yeah, it's like
how it should.
Yeah, I always say this year, 2022, has been like everything we've known has been thrown up in the air.
Oh my God.
And now everything is landing where it should. And I think we're very positive people anyway. Like any situation that arises, good or bad, we will always see the silver lining to it. And we're very into our spirituality, our manifestation, the fact that the universe is fully aligned to us. And I think even that, just like tapping into that energy, has really done us both a massive favour, because I think all that stuff we've gone through over the last 12 months essentially has been fucking rough. Let's not dress it up, but actually we always are looking for like the reason why, the bigger picture, like how this is helping us. And really we found silver linings in everything. Like you moving, the flat having to be sold, we all were like, that could have been a terrible thing, but actually for you, you're so much happier in Northampton. You're very settled. You're nearer me and the kids. Like as a unit, you and I have become even stronger. Like
we can record the podcast together.
You guys are benefiting. Like no, I just think maybe we're just like suckers for a positive spin. But I mean, that's not a wrong thing to do. But
I think there is a lesson there, isn't it? Like we could have really sunk down and like really just like felt really like had an excuse to feel really bad, like, but yeah, we have looked at the positives. You know, you have achieved all your goals in such a short amount of time. You're now in a really, really good financial independent situation where you can just like get the kids in the school you wanted, and actually being forced yourself to kind of like move back to Northampton. I think you probably realise like that this is actually the future you want. Yeah. Maybe before you were trying to like make that picture work, and I think I was the same. I was trying to make my picture work. Realistically, how am I going to have a product business in a 1-bed flat in London when I've got 3,000 lingerie pieces and like 5,000 cardboard boxes for the gift packaging on the way? Like I'm in a 3-bed house now, and I've got an office, and I'm still like panicking, like where am I going to fit everything?
Like, Christina, when you rent a house, please can you have some space for me?
So how many bedrooms is your house? Can I have 3 of them?
Luckily we found one that's big enough, so don't worry. Untold Story will be
Hamid's warehouse. My warehouse, you just live in it. But no, it's like, and like you said, like I get to see you all the time, I get to see the boys all the time, and whilst our family is going through like such a rough stage, it's actually nice that we're all here together. I agree. We're in the same.
It's a very odd like no one in a normal situation would have been thrown into living in their parents' house while they are going through a divorce at the age of 30 and 27 or whatever we are. I'm 21 really, but I think in a weird way it's been incredibly beneficial, especially for my mum, or our mum, sorry.
My mum too.
But it's just so odd. And I think I think you've learnt this as well, the biggest lesson is like actually the simple life is just the most beautiful life. Like I will fully admit I've chased these weird dreams and goals that don't even feel aligned to me, that just have made my life so much more complicated. And the minute I just stopped and thought, do you know what, just take a minute, just breathe. Like you don't need to do all the things all the time. Like I've given birth to 2 children in the last 3 years and moved house about 80 billion times, so just enjoying where my business is at, where my kids are at. My business doesn't need to grow anymore, to be honest. Like, we can leave that for another few months. And like the kids, I just need to enjoy them. I don't need to be constantly thinking about, well, what next? I don't need to be moving country. Like, that was my goal 4 months ago, was to like move to a whole different country, the other side of the world. I don't need to be socialising every night. I don't need to be in London 5 times a week. Like, it doesn't all need to be happening right now. I've got the rest of my life to do that. And I think just taking a breath and enjoying the fact that where I'm at right now, and the same for you, like we are actually so content. And I think a lot of people get so scared of feeling content. Like they feel like it's the killer of any goal. I don't know, but it's just not. It's actually just taking a minute, being happy with where you're at, and then thinking, where do I want to go next? Like, what do I want,
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
So yeah, Ellie, why don't you give us an update on where you're at with all things business, life, love?
Yeah, so I guess I don't even know where I was this time last year, because it literally has been a year since you've been on this podcast. I think
you were going to a festival.
Probably. But I like going back to that, what we were just talking about, actually, like I do feel we always have this thing, isn't it, like I think back to last year and I had so much fun, and I'm so glad I did that. I'm so glad I like spent my summer just like enjoying myself with my friends, obviously still working, but obviously at that point like the business was still, we were still in very much the development stage, so it wasn't too like go, and I did spend my summer like enjoying myself.
Yeah, and I think that's so right.
Yeah, and I'm so glad I did that, because now I'm at home in Northampton, and like I haven't been to any festivals this year. I think I've been about 2 nights out, but actually like I don't miss it.
You would have regretted it, I think, now if you hadn't done that fun.
Most
yeah,
of it.
Exactly.
And actually that is something I've really learned this year, is just like make the most of everything.
Yes, love that.
I'm so bad, you'll agree with this, at just being like, no, I've got no money, like I'm not going. And then I was like, obviously yesterday was Lionsgate, wasn't it? And I was like, and also I got my tarot cards read like a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I want to hear about that.
And like that was really like insightful for me, because basically like I do, and I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs probably do the same, like I just talk about how much money I don't have. I have money, I have I'm on the best salary I've ever been on, but because I just put all my money in the business, I'm like, I've got no money.
And you're so lucky that you have the ability to do that.
I know. And actually like when I got my tarot cards read, she was like, you need to be really careful about how you like talk about money, and like, because you're basically, in summary, and I read this in the book I'm reading, The Law of Attraction, if I'm saying, I don't have any money, I'm poor, like then I will remain poor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're always going to be poor.
Thanks.
If you're putting out to the world that you feel like you're poor currently, then you're always going to be poor.
Yeah.
In your version of being poor.
It's just like the Law of Attraction, and like, yeah, like I would really recommend that book I'm reading.
FYI, this sounds like we've gone into like being really spiritual, and this is another Law of Attraction podcast. It's not. However, I think we can both attest to the fact that the Law of Attraction has changed our life.
Yeah, and I will like, so basically the reason I got onto this, wasn't it, is like I'm talking about making the most of every situation. So like there's opportunities that are going to come up and arise, and I'm going to be like, no, I don't have the money to do that. I'm going to go say yes to that opportunity, and then I'll figure out if like later on if I run out of money, like, but has that ever happened?
No, exactly. Like we have this fear of, I don't know what it is. It is so weird. And I think like saying yes to stuff makes you feel so much better than saying no to stuff. Like you're never going to sit at home and be like, oh, I feel so good that I've saved all this money. Like, no. I think you're always going to feel better if you've gone and done the thing.
What are you saving for if it's not opportunity?
Exactly. And like, honestly, like, I just think, yeah, so I look back on my 20s, and my 20s were a ride. Like, let's be honest, they were exciting.
They were.
Like, but I thought it was just my 20s. But then I was with a couple of school friends the other week, and they were like, oh, do you remember when you dragged us to that party when we were like 15 years old, and like all our parents were scared of where you were going to take us? And I was like, okay. So I've been this girl for a long time.
It's time to retire.
It's time. I've been that girl for you all. You're going to find another muse now. I mean, yeah, I was always a bit of a wild child, and I always am going to be. And I think that was another thing, like, maybe I've lived life to the fullest a bit too much, but I have not regretted one single day of that. I mean, I can't remember half of them, but
the ones I remember.
The ones I remember, yeah.
No, and I think that's true, and I think like that. I just think like sometimes we see, not naming names, people these days that have just conform to life, and they're
not very happy.
They get to their older years or like middle age, and then life starts like catching like it goes a bit downhill for them, and then we don't want to be like that. Like, I'm not in a rush. Like, okay, yes, we're both single at the moment, but I am in no rush to like get married, and obviously you've had your kids, so that's kind of like you've taken the pressure off yourself there.
Yeah, fully.
I'm not in a rush to have kids because I basically use your kids as my kids. Thank you for taking one for the team. But I think like just take the pressure off yourself and just say yes to those opportunities. Don't tie yourself down if you don't want to don't want to just like do the normal life thing. Like,
I think that's a good way of explaining what our podcast is about as well. Like, the corporate dropouts, it's not just about starting a business. Like, when you decide to become an entrepreneur, you essentially take hold of your life and the freedom and the ability being an entrepreneur gives you to make your own choices. And I think for me especially, that's why I wanted to become an entrepreneur. One, because I knew I could do things differently in the industry, but also the freedom that it gives you. And I think I realised that a lot of other people seek that freedom, but maybe don't necessarily have the ability to then build the business that they want to, that will then give them the freedom. So that's kind of where formation comes into, which we've touched on in another episode. But I think freedom and life choices, we've always felt very connected to that sort of roadmap of like, we want to do things our way that feel aligned to us. And it has taken, and this is again where we come back to like business and personal development. Like, it takes a shitload of personal development work to build a business of your dreams. Like, if you don't start doing that inner work, that shadow work, and really figure out what the fuck is going on with certain things that might be holding you back, you're never going to move past your comfort zone.
No.
And I think that's what the year for us has been about a lot, is like getting out of our own way, basically.
I think so, I think so. And I think like a lot for me has been like realigning myself, because I think like I mean we can go back to a few episodes that we've recorded before, and like probably I think it was the one with Ashley actually.
Oh my god, yeah.
And I didn't have a voice.
Yes.
And basically like
oh my god, yeah.
And I was like really unaligned. And do you know what, that is what this year has been about. So I feel like we almost like had therapy through our podcast, because since we stopped recording that last season, and we've always really wanted to start it again, haven't we? Mm-hmm. But we just haven't felt like it fitted in quite right with our life at the moment. And that is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But since like our last episode, we have done loads of growing. And it's about just like listening to yourself. And actually sometimes being forced by the universe and the world, like we have to kind of just like come back to your roots almost, isn't it? And not
it's going within. I always call it going within.
Yeah. It's not like starting again.
No.
But it's a bit like starting in like a different, I don't know what you'd call it.
No, I think it's like, I always imagine it like you've got a comfort zone. Everyone's got a comfort zone, and it probably changes over time, but really you know where you're comfortable. And to go to the next level, you've got to go within yourself and really figure out what's holding you back from moving up the next level. And it's going to keep coming. These little issues are going to keep coming that you've got to fix to move up to the next level. And I think that's what it is. It's sort of like we get a bit distracted. There's a lot going on. And then you've got to come back to yourself, figure out what's going on, and then you'll move up your level. And it is more about self-awareness, building self-confidence, building self-worth, and like, there's no ultimate goal to life, right? But like, you will know when you feel like you're progressing or not. Like, everyone is aware of that. I know if I spend my weekend lying on the sofa watching Netflix, I'm not going to feel very fucking good about myself. That doesn't align with me. If it aligns with you, fantastic. It gives me anxiety. I don't know why. But I know what a good day looks like.
That.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry. I've got a counsellor, guys. Don't worry. I'll figure that shit out. I know what a good day feels like, and I don't know why sometimes I choose not to do my perfect day. I think we all have times where we just really want to eat all the chocolate and drink all the wine, but like, we all know ourselves, but I think sometimes it just takes a lot of self-awareness to develop it. Like, getting really fucking honest with yourself and being like, I know I had terrible habits, you had terrible habits, everyone has fucking terrible habits. You either get realistic with them and sort them out, or you're going to live your life feeling a bit shit and a bit shameful and a bit guilty. And it's kind of up to you in terms of what you want to do about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like, yeah, it's just about obviously everyone, and this is another thing we can talk about, is burnout, because you had a serious case of burnout last
God.
week. But like, yeah, it's about, you know yourself, you find lying on the sofa all weekend watching Netflix, it doesn't align with you, but actually you could go and lie in a lovely garden and do some reading all weekend.
Oh yeah, happy as Larry.
Yeah, you'd be perfect. It's just about, it's not about the not working, it's about just like,
no, it's what like lights your soul up.
Yeah. And I think what we've done, I mean, I still need to like discover a lot about myself, but yeah, this whole year has just been more about learning about what we want, standing up for what we want. And I'm not gonna lie, I think we've both found like our parents divorcing is actually like awakened that in us.
Yeah, I agree.
I think like it's kind of what we go back to is like with the Instagram thing, and like how people saw us as a family is like, oh, you're the perfect family.
Oh my God, yeah.
Just like you'd put on Instagram like, oh, you've got the perfect life.
Yeah. And it's just not the real.
It's not real. And I think that all happening has made us more like aware of who we are.
Yeah. And
what
not
we actually align to.
Yeah, and not worrying about what other people think.
Yeah.
It is so true.
Yeah, definitely.
I think, I guess to conclude this podcast, maybe it'd be good to share like key learnings that we've maybe had either recently or just across the last year, of like things that we really feel have developed us or helped us move forward. So I think the law of attraction for both of us has really helped move the needle for us. So like, you're reading the law of attraction, the book. I have found a podcast that I am absolutely fucking obsessed with called The Law of Attraction Changed My Life by Francesca Amber. I think both of those, I think we would both recommend to anyone to start reading about the law of attraction.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I still need to listen to the podcast. You still need to read the book.
Yeah.
We're going to do a swap. We should do a little book club. But I think, and also if you can go back and listen to our podcast with Ashley, that really helped.
Great,
and just like manifesting.
That was actually our first introduction to, I mean, everyone's heard of The Secret, right? I've actually never read The Secret. You have.
Yeah.
I don't think it's, do we rate it? I don't know.
I mean, you can read the first 3 chapters and you get the point. Like, it's just about basically just like
the law of attraction.
I
think this is an old book, right? So they kind of introduced the concept, but now it's moved forward a lot. I'm actually reading another book called Positively Wealthy by Emma Mumford, which again is like a challenge around manifesting and the law of attraction. So there is so much out there now, and I think people are aware of it, but I think a lot of people think, oh, it's a bit spiritual, it's a bit woo-woo, but it's actually not. Like, it's very scientific and it does make sense. And I, for one, and I think you can too, can safely say that all the practices I've put in place have returned on their investment, whatever you want to call that, like thousands of times.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think you can think it's woo-woo, can't you? But like, if you look at anyone who practices it yourself, I know like loads of like celebrities or whatever, the people that are like in my face on Instagram, they all like live by it as well. So I'm thinking, and if you go on Google, all these people, the Law of Attraction books, one of the best-selling books. I mean, even if you don't believe it, even
if you don't believe it, just look into it. Like, don't be one of those like people who say they don't know something but have never actually looked into it. It's like someone who says they don't like a vegetable and have never tried it.
But like, also, it's even if you don't believe it, it just like inspires positive thinking, doesn't it? Even if you don't think it works, well, if you sit and think like, I am rich, I am happy, I am wealthy, I am fulfilled.
Wake up to that every morning.
Is there any like that's all only beneficial for you, isn't it?
The next one I wanted to talk about was reflecting on goals. So I wanted to talk about my specific experience this weekend with doing my photo shoot. So my biggest goal for so many years has been like health and fitness. My God, I remember even recording one at the dining room table like last year about talking about my fucking goals and
fitness. Well, she's done it.
I have fucking done it, guys. Could you believe it? And I've actually installed it into my habits. Like, I'm walking every day. I'm going to the gym 3 times a week. I've lost my 1.5 stone. That was my initial goal. Anyway, so that's through a team of fucking professionals that I've hired to basically stop me feeding myself. No. I've got an accountability coach and a PT, and it has just done wonders for me. And I know I'm very lucky that I can do this sort of thing, but again, I think to be honest, the money that costs me, I probably just don't go out for dinner as much. Like, you can always find money, I believe. I'll probably get told off for this. But I think if you're going to invest in something, you could probably find a solution that...
But also, no, sorry, I agree. I think also, like, investing in your health should not be something to weigh up. Like, going and spending 100 quid on a night out, 200 quid on a night out. Yeah. Yes, you can like weigh out the pros and cons.
But
if this is your health,
why would you not put that money into?
That means like more than, if that's going to make you live 4 years longer, wouldn't you spend that £250? Like,
and I think, like, I mean, I'm a bit extreme with my old delegation, because I'm just like, right, I have to go to the gym 3 times a week because I've got a PT session. I have to do a check-in with my accountability coach because that happens every Tuesday. Like, I have to do it, right? Hopefully eventually I'll be able to just do it on my own, but I'm very much enjoying this.
So this is interesting though, sorry to interrupt, but because obviously a lot of people struggle with their fitness, and if we go back to our episode in January last year, like, what would you tell Christina from January last year? Like, what has helped you stick to your fitness plan and like made you lose the weight and like...
Do you know what? Like, this is so funny because I actually have no idea. Like,
okay, good.
No, I mean, a big part of it, I think, was just realising it's not as difficult as it seems. Like, I think sometimes you put this massive goal in front of you. So, like, I want to lose 1.5 stone, or I want to get fit. And it seems so, like, hard work that you kind of just stop at the first hurdle because you're just like, oh, my God, I can't be bothered to do a workout. But I think once you start realising that it doesn't matter about what the big goal is. It's actually about the journey and enjoying the journey. And it doesn't matter if you lose your weight within 6 months or 2 years. Like, you need to enjoy that journey. And before I knew it, I was actually enjoying exercise. It was quite a good mental health thing for me as well. And I actually started enjoying eating. I enjoyed learning about the food. I enjoyed cooking healthy meals for my children. So therefore I was doing that anyway, but I think it all just, you know, cooking healthy, learning new recipes. I mean, I cut out alcohol. That was probably quite a big thing. I stopped, like, the simplest thing is just stop buying food that's not good for you. Stop having chocolate in the house. Stop having cheese in the house. Stop having wine in the house. Guess what? You don't fucking eat it if it's not there. And with that, before you know it, if you set yourself a calorie limit and actually start measuring it and holding yourself accountable, like I said, you know you're standing in your own way. I knew I want to lose weight, but yeah, every night I'm running to the fridge to scoff on Baby Bells and chocolate biscuits or something on one. And you're like, oh, I wonder why I'm not losing any weight. And it's just so fucking obvious. And I think if you just get out of your own way, like I said. And then before I knew it, it was June, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I've hit my target, basically. And I was like, I'm actually enjoying this process now because I've kind of hit my initial goal, and now I'm just excited to see where it goes, and I've really instilled that as a habit in my life. And I think that's it, but I can actually enjoy life at the same time. A big issue for me was, like, if I have a goal, I cannot let go of control of that. So, like, with healthy eating, I was like, no, I can't enjoy life, I can't eat anything, I can't do this and this because that's my goal. But now it's a bit like, okay, no, I can just enjoy this journey. This is my lifestyle now. So I think yeah, it is literally just like everyone knows what you're doing wrong. Like, even Ellie, who's like the fittest fitness queen in the whole entire world, she knows that you probably don't want to eat so much. I don't know, like, something, you know.
Do you know what it is? And I think, like, you after like watching you these last like 6 months or whatever, you don't, if you want to go and binge out on Baby Bells and biscuits, you'll still do it. But actually, I think what you've learned is, like, that makes me feel really fucking shit. Yeah. And actually, I love a salad. But that's true.
That is so true.
But that's why it's not become hard, because you've taken the whole, like, I'm not allowed biscuits out of it, and you're like, I'm gonna have a biscuit if I want.
Yeah, but I know I'm gonna feel shit.
But yeah, I'm gonna feel shit, that stops
true.
you. And actually, we've done this thing where we're just like 5 days. I mean, this is probably bad, or if we get told off saying this, but yeah, you do like 5 days, I do like 5 days of really healthy eating, and the weekend we kind of relax a little bit. Yeah. And I think that's what keeps you going, is knowing, like, oh, it's not 6 months I'm not allowed to look at a chocolate biscuit, and I have to work out for 3 hours every single day. You just, like, got up at 5 when the kids woke up, or like just before the kids woke up. You did like a really quick 20-minute workout. It was done for the day, and then, like, I think also working out in the morning does help you, doesn't it?
Love it,
because you're already on the right path, so like it kind of motivates you to, well, breakfast I'm definitely not going to cheat because I've just done this workout, lunch, and then by dinner you're probably like so exhausted anyway, you're just going to bed.
You know, I keep saying this phrase, but we get in our own way. Like, I know I can spend an extra 5 minutes preparing a lunch instead of grabbing a Baby Bell and a sandwich or whatever the fuck people eat. Like, I would be like, no, just make a salad. Like, you love a salad, and it takes 2 minutes extra to shove stuff on a plate, and I fucking love a salad. Like, I won't lie.
You do.
But like, sometimes I just be like, I'll just throw a sandwich together. That takes as much time, and I just think it's like, just make healthier choices. When you go shopping, don't put shit in your cart that's gonna, you're gonna snack on when you're feeling weak. Like, I will not allow myself to have alcohol in the house. My alcoholism is an issue. Like, apart from right now, I'm at Ellie's house now. But I know if there's a bottle of wine in my house, I will drink that all in one night, and it will be a Tuesday, and then I'll feel shit the next day. But I can't help it. So it's just like being honest with yourself. Like, don't pretend that. I'm not embarrassed about the fact that I could easily sink a bottle of wine. Like,
of course easy. Not. I think
but
most people
I'm
could.
Very realistic with it. I'm like, if I don't want to be fat and have spots and have sugar in me
and feel shit the next morning,
just don't have it in your fucking house. Like, and if you want to feel good and be proud, this is where the whole point was coming to, right? So sorry. So reflection on your goals. So I've had this PT, and she organised a photo shoot for us to do on Saturday. So whenever this comes out, it was a few weeks ago. And I was a bit like, I'm going to sign up because I like to push myself out of my comfort zone, and it sounded really fun. Day away from the kids. No, I'm joking, I love my kids.
Easy.
I was like, yeah, done. But I hadn't really taken into account the fact that it would really make me celebrate how far I'd come. I didn't feel like I was ever obese, but I was very unhappy. I mean, I'm a short person anyway, right? So anyway, so I knew I could improve. I like to try and find ways to be the best I can be. Anyway, and this photo shoot was just so fucking empowering, and it's actually made me more motivated. It's not like I saw the photos and I was like, right, done.
Like you look incredible in these photos. Like you could have easily been like, so I've done it. Like, done. Like, can relax now.
And I think that's where people go wrong. It's like they set these goals, and if they achieve them, they're like, okay, cool, I'm done. But it's not like. And if anything, the journey to getting to the goal is more satisfying than actually achieving the goal, because
100%.
Once you get to the goal, you're like, right, what's next? Yeah. So I'm now like, okay, so I can see I really want to sort out my abs, or I really, whatever. Like, and it is so good to just take a minute. So whoever you are listening right now, just stop and just think, what have I achieved this year? And how proud am I of how far I've come? And then think about, right, what can I achieve for the next 3 months of the year? I think there's like 148 days left of the year. Like, what do you want to do with those days?
Yeah, but don't put too much pressure on yourself. Enjoy the journey.
Enjoy the journey.
But yeah, I think like we could definitely do like a whole other podcast on literally fitness. Like, we're just going to keep this podcast really open with whatever comes to our minds as we press record. But obviously, like, we have so much to catch everyone up on this episode. So it's been a bit of everything really. But we hope like you can definitely take a few bits out of the podcast,
and what we've been up to.
Yeah, basically we just say like really just try and manifest. If nothing else, gives you that positive mindset. Reflect on your goals. Again, it gives you that positive, more motivation to keep going. But yeah, and like just eat healthy.
Yes, those guys. We're like a bottle of wine deep at this point.
I know.
But I also would say, like, we obviously at the Lifestyle CEO on the Instagram, just drop us a message about any questions you actually want us to talk about, because we do have a lot going on in our life, and we could probably talk about a lot of different aspects, like separation, partner breakups, business running, moving house, like recording a podcast, whatever. But like, we'd love to kids. Yeah, I keep forgetting them. Animals. We would love to know more about like what you actually want to know about. Like, is it just business tips and how to grow business? That's fine. But is it more about how to balance it all? Is it about how to find love, manifest, whatever? Like, we'd love to know more about what you want to hear about. So drop us a message.
Yeah, definitely. Don't know what we're going to talk about next time, but
we'll come back. We hope
see
you
what
see you next time.
So yeah, bye guys. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for joining. Bye.